to the Draft Time Show on allflavasradio.com. Yeah! Alright!
We have only the best DJs from around the world. All Flavas Radio.
Not many people have discipline, but the great ones do.
Oh yes, beautiful people. How are you all doing out there in All Flavas Land? I am Wimbo77, and sadly tonight, naturally, Lily cannot make it with us. So we have a very eclectic group in the studio tonight. And as we said, our special guest is the original voice of Mr. Vane, Tania Evans, and we'll be speaking to her shortly, as well as Kenny. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, we're good. Kenny is stepping in tonight for Naturally Lily.
Yes, I'm sorry to say Naturally Lily wasn't feeling too well tonight, so I have been thrown in to the proverbial deep end.
Is it proverbial deep end?
I'm going to say proverbial.
You're doing well so far.
Yes.
It's a family show.
It really is. But guess what? The kids aren't here tonight, so we won't have any screaming in the back. We won't have the background sound effects tonight, guys.
I might give you a few if I get a few wrong.
Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry. And DeCarlo, I literally had 20 minutes to work out what I was doing. So it's nice to get a change up, and we'll see how Kenny might be sitting in the hot seat from now, D. Who knows? Let us know.
I will the crown.
So as we saw there with that wonderful discipline, or the fearless motivation, that discipline, that is something really, really important for all of us to tap into, because it's not just going to school or college where we learn. We are all in the university of life, and it's always a constant learning curve. Now tonight we have a lot to be getting on with, really, in the sense that we have a wonderful guest, as mentioned, coming in, and we know that it is the 11th of May, and the year is moving on swiftly.
It's flying.
Right? What do you say, Ken?
It's flying. It's National Day today. As I said, May the 11th. And it's interesting the day that it is. Do you know what day it is?
It is National Twilight Zone Day.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I love the Twilight Zone. I love it.
National Twilight Zone Day, May the 11th, and it says we're celebrating a more science fiction, horror, supernatural drama and unexpected twists than you could shake off. It's all about the fifth dimension and beyond. That's why it's called the Twilight Zone, right?
Yes, and some people say it was the greatest show on TV.
Yeah. I guess so for its time. Tanya.
I recently listened to the audiobook of Rod Serling, the creator of the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
And his life, because I was so inspired by it. I just wanted to know his life biography.
Yeah, and it's great because obviously it's over, when was it created, in the 60s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Twilight Zone.
And it's interesting because from that, the Twilight Zone from the 60s, there's been spin-offs.
Yeah.
There's been deviations. Mm-hmm. There's been graphic novels, movies, radio series, even a board game.
Yeah. Wow. And there's one that I watch. I've forgotten it.
He had something before the Twilight Zone.
What was the one before? It's the one before the Twilight Zone that I like.
He was
One Step Beyond, I think it's called. One Step Beyond.
Yeah, and he had another one, the Gallery or something.
Oh, I've not heard that one.
Oh, no, I think he used the gallery background, but he was a prolific screenwriter and playwright.
Yeah, fantastic. I think the one before the Twilight Zone was actually One Step Beyond. That was more from the 50s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was early 50s.
Yeah. And then they went into the Twilight Zone, didn't they?
Yeah, and he did more than that. He did other things as well. He worked with my favourite author, Sidney Sheldon. He did all sorts of things.
See, there you go.
He served in the army, and he saw one of his colleagues decapitated, and that inspired him to do the Twilight Zone. You know that dark love. I mean, not love hate, but sweet, bittersweet sort of thing. He's always had that dichotomy with his life.
It's amazing because I love it all things that are out of the ordinary. We had an experience like that yesterday, didn't we, Ken?
Yeah.
Did we?
With the bike.
Yes.
Really?
I can't. I will let you carry on because I'm just trying to configure what it was.
We were fixing Ken's bike.
There you go.
And one of the rings dropped, and it's almost like it dropped into another dimension. We could not find this ring.
Oh right, so it was right there and you couldn't see it?
We couldn't see it.
Really?
We couldn't see it, and we must have spent over an hour or so looking for it. We did finally find it, and it was on the bike.
But you heard it drop though.
We heard it drop onto the floor.
We did definitely heard it
It
drop.
might have dropped onto the bike though.
Yeah, so it could have made that ting noise when it dropped onto the bike. But
Yeah.
to me, that was like, oh, this is unbelievable. Why can we not find this ring? Why can't we find this ring? And that was one of the things. As well as I had a silver ring once. And I could not find it for about 3 years. I put it down somewhere, could not find this ring for about 3 years. And then one day I was in my bedroom, then I heard something drop on the floor. It was a silver ring.
Wow.
So it was almost like it came through some kind. This is me.
The
in
Mandela
my-
effect.
Yes, in some warped, because we're talking here now about the 5th dimension, right? Or the 6th, or the how many dimensions
When
there
the
are.
moon is in the 7th house.
There you go.
Aquarius.
Age of the Aquarius.
I hope you're going to play that record.
The age of the Aquarius.
Well, we were actually in the age of the Aquarius last year. You know that, right?
Yeah, we've gone into Pisces now, have we?
There you go. So, isn't it amazing? So, this Twilight Zone is quite apt for today. It was a series that came out in the 1950s. I think that One Step Beyond was
Way
just
ahead
before
of
that.
its time, wasn't it?
Way ahead of its time.
Way ahead.
I love some of the stories. Like,
Yeah,
it did make you think, right?
Yeah, that's what he wanted to do. His aim was to make people think, and he always wanted to have people think about the principle and moral of a story that he had written. And he used other writers as well, though, but he did most of the work himself.
Sorry, darling.
He worked himself too much. You know, he did work himself to death.
So I'm not sure how he passed or anything in that sense.
Heart attack. He was
Was it
only
a heart
about
attack?
52 or something.
Wow.
It's working too hard.
He
isn't
did
it?
work too hard. Yeah.
Well, but to be creative, it does take a lot out of you as well.
He realised it towards the end of his life, but it was a little bit too late. So he warned his colleagues not to do what he did.
Wow, that's just overdoing it when it comes to the work. But all of that imagination, that must have kept him awake at night sometimes,
he
right?
did. He put a lot into his career, you know. He put a great deal into his career.
So they say, how do we celebrate this National Twilight Day?
Well, the good thing is, after it ended in 1964, Steven Spielberg famously
there you
rebooted
go.
it in 1985, I believe.
He was probably inspired by it though, wasn't he,
He was,
Stephen?
he was
'Cause Stephen's
definitely
just
inspired.
A lot of
Yeah.
people inspired by it.
out there, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he adapted the original show,
Yeah.
actually, and it returned to television on CBS.
Okay.
Developed into another reboot, and that lasted for 4 years. And then developed again 2020, 2002 and 2019.
Yeah. And what was in 2019? The reincarnations were developed in 2002, 2019, and there was similar structure to the original,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So how to celebrate National Twilight Zone Day? Now, there's not a national hashtag National Twilight Zone Day. Can't see that. But it says that we can play a board game. So apparently there was an official Twilight Zone board game that was released in 1964. I wonder if that's a collectible.
That must be a collectible.
Yeah, it must
I would
be.
assume that's a collectible.
I have never seen that before.
I've never seen it. I haven't seen it myself.
Maybe it's in America.
So if you're out there, guys, and you have one, please do let us know. That might actually be in the same... We spoke about a board game. I think it was Monopoly recently, and I think that one... No, it was Scrabble that we spoke of, and that is in the Games Hall of Fame. There's actually a Games Hall of Fame, yeah. So this one might actually be there.
Yeah.
It also says that we can host a television marathon.
Well, you can, innit? If you think about it, from 1964 to 2019, you got a host of episodes that you could pick and choose from to watch.
There were so many.
And they're really, really good, right? So it gets you thinking, these ones. And then it says we can take a course. So it says a number of colleagues and universities provide science fiction classes. It's a great way to further your education and learn more about the world of science fiction. While the Twilight Zone may be the most popular interpretation of genre, there are countless other shows, movies and novels to discover. And that's so true, isn't there?
That's true.
Because you spoke of Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
And
I
Tania,
discovered something on YouTube, but I can't remember the name of it. It was very similar to the Twilight Zone, but not in the supernatural way. It was more of a theme of like each episode had like a just like a moral of the story kind of thing, and
there's
it was very
quite a lot
good.
there. There's a lot of those ones, isn't there?
Yeah.
I can't remember. There's a young guy that does, but they're not so on the supernatural side. Lily, you know the guy that we speak about. They do a story, and then they'll give you the moral at the end. But it's more like to do with everyday life.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, I'll have to. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's very, very good on YouTube.
I mean, Rod Serling, he had a lot of problems in the beginning of his career before the show that preceded the Twilight Zone with writing, because people wanted to steer him away from his idea of the supernatural and everything.
Yeah, I guess back in that day though, it must have been a bit strange to talk about things like that.
Yeah, it was very much so.
Yeah, and there were other shows like Attack of the Martians. Is it?
Yeah,
you know the Martian films of those days.
They used to call them B films.
Okay, B films.
In the States,
B-movies.
they were called B movies, where they would go, and a lot of them were like outside cinemas.
Yeah.
We'd sit in the car. This is in the States.
Yeah,
obviously,
drive-ins. There's one that they've done one here as well.
Even Planet of the Apes as well, but because that's of, you know.
Yeah.
He inspired a lot of things, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there were things going on before, but he took it to the next level without a doubt, I believe.
And you spoke of one the other day, Alan, the guy on YouTube, that also speaks a lot on the supernatural.
Oh yeah, Jordan Maxwell, and I mean that's more conspiracy theory and deep religious stuff. But there's a lot of people, you know, because some of the things they're saying, even I dismiss them like, are you crazy? And now you can see signs of these things happening.
Look at last year. Who would have ever thought that would happen, right?
Yeah.
That's almost like we was in the Twilight Zone there, right? Wasn't it? Like a year in your house on lock.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
You know, or a year and a quarter.
That's it, because we are just going out, right?
Yeah.
So that is...
You know, now that really is a Twilight Zone.
Isn't it?
So guys, we've actually lived it. We've lived the Twilight Zone, guys. How amazing is that, eh? So today is National Twilight Zone Day, and it's always good to have a little bit of fun and just see what kind of, you know, there's a national day every single day, and you can also create one if you want to.
That's true. And it could be as quirky as you like. Like this one, I think this is quite quirky.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
it's different.
as quirky as we like, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Awesome. So, moving on, today in history. Now, does anyone know what, in 1981, something quite sad happened actually, and that was the fact that the reggae star Bob Marley died at 36 on this day.
Wow, 36.
Hence,
so young.
36, yeah. Hence us playing that song, Waiting in Vain. And there's a reason why as well. There's a little bit of a string going through this show today when we're speaking about the word vain. So we're going to play a few other songs in that sense, because it is relating to our guest. And yeah, so Bob Marley, he died on this day, May the 11th in 1981. That's over 40 years.
Wow.
40 years ago. It doesn't seem that long ago, does it?
No, I mean Elvis Presley died at 42,
Okay.
I think, and Marilyn Monroe died at 46.
Very young.
Wow.
I mean 36.
Wow.
Marilyn Monroe.
Similar
isn't
age. Similar age.
So young.
Yeah, number 9. That's what it seems to add up to, doesn't it? Or 4610.
Numerology. He packed a lot in his life though, didn't he?
Yeah. He did. He was a true prophet. It's funny. Joy says The Fugitive was one of the Twilight Zone
Really?
films. Do you remember The Fugitive?
I remember The Fugitive.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I watched
The
it to this day. I
Fugitive.
love
I
it.
remember that.
Twilight Zone and Tomorrow's World was a family favourite. And we'll be coming to saying hi to you all in the chat room very, very soon, guys. So yeah.
There's a bit of that atmospheric feeling in the film when you watch The Fugitive. You can see the correlation once someone tells you.
Was there, but wasn't that a series
Yeah,
as well?
The Fugitive was a spin-off series. It was a series.
Yeah,
it was an actual series.
He was stuck in this place, wasn't he? Like, it was a village.
Yeah, he was running away from a police officer who was really determined to find
To catch him.
Yeah, and he didn't commit the murder. They caught him with the train wreck.
Yes, yeah, they didn't, and there was a guy, and there was a guy without a hand, or one-armed man, or something. That was in The Fugitive.
Really?
I don't know what the connection was, but
Yeah.
and there's someone else out there can kind
But
of
he
steer me
was
in the right.
stuck.
But I
He
think
was stuck in a village.
No, what it was
Yeah.
is that the police,
Honestly.
initially the police, good story, you know, the police, I wish I could write like that, tell you.
You
The
probably
police-
can.
The police caught him, and he was on the train on the way to the station, and then the train derailed,
Oh, okay.
and then that's how he escaped,
Yeah.
and then that's when the chase began to find him, you know.
Hey, see, there you go. There's a lot of amazing writers out there, and it's quite funny because I think of the scripture in Ecclesiastes, and when it says that to the making of many books, but you know the imagination is just so amazing.
Yeah,
Sense of,
I feel I never thought I would ever be inspired to be a writer, but I feel so inspired by the plot and everything and how it's all done. It's beautiful.
Yeah. There's a book inside of everyone. I always say that.
Yeah.
There's definitely a book inside of all of us. But going back to Bob Marley, we know that when he was 36, or prior to that, he didn't leave behind a will. That's one thing he didn't do. He never left a will.
Wow.
And he 7 months earlier, he collapsed while jogging in Central Park.
Oh.
And that was from melanoma. We know that he had the cancer, wasn't it?
form of cancer. Yeah.
Was it in
Yeah.
his toe?
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah.
So it was first diagnosed in 1977, but left largely untreated, and that spread throughout his body. And he went through stuff, because I was reading as well that they tried to assassinate him.
Yeah, I
all
was
sorts, right?
just going to say he survived assassination attempts as well. Didn't
Yeah, yeah, and that was the night before they was meant to do a peace show, and apparently what they did was that they snuck in his a lot of their flight cases. I can't remember where was the show. Was
Like
it in
a
Jamaica?
It
Wasn't
was
it?
in
Stowaway,
Jamaica,
like a stowaway.
They snuck in
Yeah.
arms, because you know there was a big fight going on at that time in Jamaica. There was two parties. There was two political parties.
Yes, it was really bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that was
very
fighting.
violent.
So he went in there to create peace, and they didn't want that. So he said
Yeah.
he'd sing one song on this concert.
Yeah, he did his concert for the politics, and he
Yeah.
pulled
That's
it
right.
together, didn't
yeah.
it?
But I think
I know it was Manley and
That's it.
Iago.
yes.
Iago.
Yeah.
Those are the two. Those are the two political rivals at the time, and they had separate parties.
Mm.
And at that concert, he called both of them up on stage. I think that's the one your concert you're talking
Yes.
about.
Yes.
And I think he tried to broker peace through his music. Really,
Mm.
he was
Yeah,
on stage
yeah.
through his music.
For that one night.
He was a musical prophet, you know,
Yes.
like Stevie Wonder and Bob Dylan for sure, and many a few others, you know.
But he definitely left his mark, right?
Oh, definitely, and it's so relevant even today.
Yeah.
You know, everybody still is deeply touched and knows Bob Marley's legacy, and then all his children making beautiful music, and even Lauryn Hill and everything. You know, he left a lot of children behind, and a lot of his energy here.
Yeah.
And it's interesting with his album, with him and his music. I think he still reached #1 on I think on the album chart or the download chart.
Quite a few,
Recently,
quite a
this was
few.
recently.
It's up there,
Yeah.
still up high up
Recently.
there.
Yeah, even 10 years ago and 5 years ago and 15 years ago, he's still so amazingly relevant and impactful in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that song we played just now. I mean, it's timeless. Bob Marley's music is timeless. It just fit into any scenario. And the lyrics, the prophecy, the way that he taught, the way that he tried to unify people, I think that again just showed the man that he was.
Yeah.
And regardless of being shot like the night before and going on stage the next day, you know, kind of
Really?
thing.
Oh
Yeah,
my God,
it's yeah.
I've got to get an
True.
audio book of his autobiography now.
I think there is one. I think that Joy McKay says that it was a nail in his shoe that Siega,
That's it,
the Prime
Siega,
Minister gave him. That's right, because they gave him a pair of shoes as a gift, wasn't it?
Yes.
And even back then, yes, they do some cool, wicked things, you know,
I'm sorry.
undercover things. And it was a nail in the shoe that gave him that melanoma, and that's what killed him. Yeah, so we salute Bob Marley. It is the anniversary of his death. He was born Nestor Robert Marley, born on February the 6th, 1945, in rural St Anne's Parish, Jamaica. And he was the son of a middle-aged white woman marine officer and an 18-year-old black Jamaican girl.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so at the age of 9, he moved to Trenchtown. It was tough. And we hear him talking about that Trenchtown rock, all that stuff, don't we? Singing all that stuff.
He went to live, because he grew with his grandparents, didn't he? And he went back to live with his mother.
Wow.
And then when he went to the city, he saw all the things that were going on, you know, and that inspired him. That gave him the fire and the injustices and all the poverty he saw that he didn't see when he was growing up that much in the country and everything.
Yeah. And that's it. He went on, and it says there he went on to work with Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer. We know Bunny Wailer recently passed, didn't he?
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they had the Wailers.
Yeah, that's right. It says
all those pictures.
They performed as the Wailers.
Yeah, they performed as the Wailers.
So that was Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and Bunny Wailer. They performed as the
And
Wailers.
obviously Marcia Griffiths.
Marcy Griffiths, was it?
Who was the backing? Was she
his wife. It was.
but there were 3 of them.
Was Marcy Griffiths
Marley.
Rita Marley.
And one of them might have been. I don't know if there was Marcy.
I'm not sure. Someone can correct us.
Yeah, maybe she was a friend.
I don't think it was Marcy Griffiths. I think you're thinking of Rita Marley.
Maybe it's Rita Marley.
Yeah, that was his wife. She was actually shot as well that night. You know.
Really?
Yeah, she was shot on the night that Bob Marley, and she was shot in the head. Wow. And she survived that too. Yeah, Rita Marley's still alive today.
Wow. He would have been 75 then, I think, if he was born in 45.
Yeah. Yeah. See? So isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I believe he was sent to this world, I really do. I believe he was, and people like him, a lot of people like him, then it seems like they're not meant to be in this world, that they don't stay here long. It seems to me like they just lift people's consciousness and add their spirituality or what have you, and then they go on to where they belong.
As they say, the good die young, isn't it?
Yeah. Or taken from us.
Yeah.
In his
case, when we think about the whole situation there, isn't it? Yeah.
Quite a few people though have been like Bob Marley, but in different areas perhaps. You know, and some of them, not all of them, but some of them they go way too soon. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But then it's what they leave, the legacy that they leave behind, isn't it?
Yeah, the higher purpose.
Yeah, and that's what's really beautiful, is that the fact that leaving a legacy is very important, and our mark not in history, but we can just touch one person's life.
Exactly.
You know,
it doesn't have to be massive and high profile. It can just be having a child that you love. It could be anything. It could be even perhaps smiling past a stranger, lifting their day for that day or week.
Yeah, absolutely. So leaving a legacy, beautiful people. Let's think about that. And also the question of the day, if I just highlight the question, because I forgot to do that. It says, if a client can't pay after you provide a service, what do you do? So if a client can't pay after you provide a service, what do you do? So that is the question for today. And after the break, we will be touching on our word for the day. So the word for the day is importunate. Okay, or is it importunate?
Importunate.
Yes, so we're going to find out what that is. We'll see y'all in 5.
Call us now on 07895 134 713. That's 07895 134
Stay there. We'll be back after these.
Are you having an event and looking for entertainment for your event? For all ages, from bouncy castles, selfie mirrors, rodeo boards, call Boss Leisure now on 07 833 958 528. That's 07 833 958 528. We provide entertainment for weddings, children's parties and corporate events. Check out our website www.bossleisure.co.uk. Boss Leisure, we've got you covered anywhere in the UK. Boss Leisure, the name you can trust for your event.
This is a very important health message. My name is Errol McKellar, MBE. I am a prostate cancer survivor and founder of the charity the Errol McKellar Foundation. Do you know that over 47,000 men a year are diagnosed with prostate cancer? Do you also know that over 11,000 men also die of prostate cancer? That means that one man will die every 45 minutes. Do you also know that 1 in 8 European men will die of prostate cancer? But more frighteningly, that 1 in 4 Afro-Caribbean men will die of prostate cancer. But the truth is, prostate cancer doesn't care about your color. Prostate cancer doesn't care about your wealth. Prostate cancer doesn't care about you. What prostate cancer will do, if you ignore it, it will kill you. At the Errol McKellar Foundation, our aims and mission is to talk with as many men and their partners as possible to ensure they are fully aware of the dangers posed by prostate cancer, recognizing potential symptoms and know about the available tests and information. We want to stop men from dying through ignorance and fear. For more details, please visit www.theerrolmckellarfoundation.com or email TEMF2018@gmail.com. Please remember that health is your wealth.
Visit zandoli.co.uk for this summer's hottest street fashion straight to your door. Shop tracksuits, sweatshirts, t-shirts and ladies' gymwear online today at zandoli.co.uk and we'll give 35% to the St. Vincent and Grenadines Volcanic Fundraiser. Plus pre-order our new ranges and you'll get 10% off. Go online today at zandoli.co.uk.
Bienvenue toutes. Et puis le programme Chaudier Show et puis DJ Naiji asso All Flavors Radio. Et c'est logué asso www.allflavasradio.com pour écouter le programme Chaudier Show. Et puis en locadas, zouk, compas, musique mamay lakay, kulti naturel, quadrille et puis la comète. Venez joindre moi tous les samedis à 8h pour 10h, dernier du temps. Et puis créole, sous content créole, nous tous contents. Sur la radio All Flavor.
All Flavas Radio is now looking for radio presenters. Email us at info@allflavasradio.com.
That was the sounds of Wadi there. Wadi, and that song was all about Vain. That was the name of the song there. And yes, we're in the studio today. DJ KJB is in with us, as well as Tania Evans, the original voice of Mr. Vain. And that is really the ring, or that's the ring going through the show. And we're going to find out a little bit more about Tania very shortly. But going back to the word of the day, did anyone guess what that was? The word? Importunate. Importunate. Have you heard that word before, guys?
I have never heard it before. Never used it.
It sounds like the combination of two words.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
like unfortunate, fortunate, immune.
Important.
Important, yeah.
And it gives a definition here.
Yes, what's the definition?
The definition is overly persistent or being troublesome.
Sounds a bit like you, KJB.
Yes, you're trying to say I'm important.
Unnerving.
Right, so you know that from here on in we've got to try and include this word in our conversation, because that is the goal by the end of the show, to include the word in our chat tonight. Importunate. And it says that, troublesome, urgent, overly persistent in request or demand. So a bit demanding. An importunate person is someone that's demanding. I want it now kind of person.
I know what I want and I want it now.
There's the link. There's the link.
Exactly.
I know what I want. And I want it now.
You're thinking on your toes.
I want you. I'll say the rest later.
Okay, that's right. I know what I want, but that's not being troublesome by knowing what you want, right?
Well, I suppose if you do it, it's not what you do; it's the way that you do it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So it says that importunate's been part of the English language since the 16th century, And the synonym is importune. Oh yeah, so we know that word importune, right?
Inopportune time.
Yes, right. So it's arriving
so
like
it's derived from something else.
yeah, at the wrong time. You know,
I've never heard that word before.
Importune. They arrived at the importune time, so they either arrived late or they either arrived too early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it says in the 15th century, the seeming superfluous. There's another big word there, guys. My lecturer at uni used to always use this word. Oh, it's so superfluous. The thing is, it just means not necessary. Okay, superfluous means not necessary. And importune is a little bit mysterious. One theory is that English speakers model the adjective after words, like obstinate, importune, Latin for importunus. Yes, it means not importunus.
Yeah. But that's kind of defunct now, isn't it?
Why is that?
I don't know. I'm just saying it because nobody really uses that word now. We don't really speak
Yeah.
in those terms.
I have heard importune as in coming not at the right time. I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard that.
I've actually said that to you.
Yeah. I've seen it. But again, don't forget, as a writer, again, you would see words that maybe other people. It's not an everyday language. Let's say that. Right?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm kind of alluding to.
But I guess going back to the Twilight Zone, the language would have been different as well to a degree, isn't it? So the way that the script writing the idea of it, they'd possibly use words like this. You might find them in something like that as well.
Isn't it amazing? We live in a world where every single thing around us, you know, the table, the chairs we're sitting on, the words we use, everything, our clothes, every single thing, the music, it's all changing and evolving.
Yes.
Every single moment of every day.
Yeah. Do you think that we're getting less sort of, we don't think much about the things that we think much so. About the words
more
that we say. So because I personally think words are very, very important.
I'm falling in love with words more than ever before. I think through the stories I read and the books.
So just having an idea of words and their meanings and the things that we say to ourselves as well. A lot of the time, we're cursing ourselves half the time and don't even realise it.
Yeah, what's in your mind? You know, many years ago, I realised, my mind talk that I was unaware of most of the time and unconscious of most of the time. Yeah. So and which voices were there? You know, from the past, like friends, relatives, and certain patterns. You know, and I realised, not only did I realise the voice, I realised who the voice came from or whatever. And that's when I started to become more conscious of what I'm thinking, and trying to work on that side of life.
And especially the things that come out of us, because they go on the ether, you know.
They do.
And then they go and create who we are. That's right.
When somebody told me that back then, I didn't believe them. I couldn't believe it. Your thoughts of things, you thought, really? I could. Of course, many years later, I can see all these things manifest.
Yes.
In my life.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Ken?
No, I'm thinking because it's interesting because in the job that I do, I'm meeting people every day, and I do kind of understand that point of view, because sometimes when I see an individual, sometimes I'm the only person to see them in that particular day. And sometimes that can be just in general. Sometimes we meet people and we're not sure where they're going, and what they're going to go into when they leave us. So words carry a lot of meaning.
Yeah. The phonetics of words. You know, we're musicians.
Yeah.
The rhythm of the words, how we say it. Because we can say it down there. We can say it up here.
Yeah.
You know, it all counts. It all counts.
Absolutely.
It
So
does.
importunate, beautiful people, overly persistent, or being troublesome. Are you troublesome? Let us know. Okay.
I plead the fifth.
Okay, we'll let you off today. We'll let you off, Ken.
So, no, I was just going to say, build your vocabulary, get a word of the day every day in your inbox.
Yes. Okay, so we will be trying to slip that importunate word into our talks tonight. Let's see if we get it. Give us a high five if we do, and then Just don't give us anything if we don't. All right.
Okay.
So breaking news today. I found this article. It was on Al Jazeera. It's about Burkina Faso. And it says, again, it displaces thousands in 10 days. And this is from the UN. So I have heard of Burkina Faso in the past. And I'm not too sure if it was Burkina Faso that Alicia and I spoke of on the show a while ago. I'm sure it was Eritrea or Ethiopia, where they deployed a lot of troops. But what was quite surprising to me was that it said that these armed groups displaced about 17,500 people in Burkina Faso. And in recent days, UNCHR says, in attempt to cause mayhem, this is why they displaced them. Now, at the bottom of the article, it highlighted, I'm just going to go to the bottom of the article because it says that, where are we? It says, last year the government enlisted the help of volunteer militiamen to help the army, but they have incurred retaliation by the rebels who attacked them and the communities they help. Armed groups have driven religious groups and ethnic tensions between farming and herding communities in Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger to boost recruitment among marginalised communities. But it spoke of that wasn't the right section that I wanted to read. What it said was that this country was very poor, and that they had nothing. So you know that I always go and dig a little bit deeper, and I found out that Burkina Faso has rich deposits of gold, zinc, copper, magnesia, as well as iron, nickel, and limestone, dolomite, and phosphates.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of the African continent is rich in minerals and has resources. So destabilization works for some people. Some companies, some corporations. So we need to look at the bigger picture.
Yes.
Marginalised. There will be marginalised groups in any African country because it's made up of various cultures. So you get Burkina Faso as one country, but you'll have multifaceted community. So you unfortunately, that's what will happen if you got arms coming into a country, you're using the natural minerals and resources going out the country. Something has to give. There is going to be tension. The people feel marginalised because the people who are meant to represent them, obviously, are not representing them for their good. They're representing them for their own greed.
Well, they can get. And the thing is, where do the guns come from? Where do the arms come from? When you really think about it,
exactly. Because they're not asking these questions, are they? They're just talking about this story and that story, but they're not asking what causes that story.
Right.
And they need to do that. Where do the guns come from?
Yeah, and we when you dig deeper, because like you said, Ken, Africa is mineral rich. Okay, so there's no reason why there would. Why is all this going on? But obviously, there's a darker side
Much
to
darker, and it's been going on a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And I suggest while the West are getting their mobile phones, they ain't getting TVs, they're getting their white goods.
Yeah.
Supply and demand, why should they change it? Why should they interfere?
But it's not even down to the white goods. And we are quite a consumerist society. We understand
Computers
that.
And all that.
Okay, we very are wanting the latest of everything. Okay, but it's at the cost of these people. And they're not poor. The Africans need to realise and recognise that they're actually not poor, because they're the ones that everyone's going in to rape the country.
Exactly. Yeah.
So keep them in poverty in the sense of, again, what we were speaking about earlier there, Tania, about the mental poverty, the mentalness of not knowing certain things, right?
Yeah, but not being aware. I mean, here we're poor in some ways. We're poor in community, because when we were growing up and small, there was a lot of community activity, neighbours, you leave your windows open, doors open. I think England's poor in that way, or most of England.
Yeah.
And there's every tree in Africa has fruits on. Our trees don't have much fruit on.
Yeah.
So we're poor in that way as well. We're poor in other ways as well.
I love how you put it that way, because poverty, it is a mindset. We've said this before.
Yeah, it's not just about money.
No way. Because it's wealth, we're wealthy in many, many other ways. But the poverty, it starts in the mind.
London is a lonely city, I think.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I think London, maybe many other big cities around the world, but London is a very, very lonely place, I think. Maybe not for the young people, but when you get past 25, 30, I do believe London is quite lonely. It's very transitionary.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Is that a lot of people coming and going in that way?
Yeah, but not just coming and going. A lot of people want to climb up that property ladder, so your neighbours might be 3 years' time gone, and then someone else coming in.
Yeah.
And lots of things, and jobs as well. There's a high turnover. You know, there's in large parts of London. It's very fast.
I just find as well that, unfortunately, if things like Burkina Faso, let me get my teeth in, and places like that where people are displaced, it's only a minority that care and are willing to give up their time and resources to try and help. The majority, if it doesn't affect them and they're getting what they need, why worry?
Yeah,
and I think London, in a way, is kind of is not going like that. But I see a lot of, if it doesn't affect me,
social unrest. Yeah,
if it doesn't work, if it's not affecting me, it's fine. But there is a small majority who do care and who are trying. But obviously, it's how we see it as an individual. It's what we read and what we're bringing into our homes that helps us to define how we see things.
Yeah, what I find the sad thing about it is that you've got to dig to see what's going on.
Yeah, but back in the day, what was I going to say now? Back in the day, I mean, this sort of thing caused wars, displacement of people, causes wars.
And these guys are being displaced in Burkina Faso, 17,500.
That's a lot.
And people displaced, as well as young people being ambushed and killed. You know, and that was last week that these youngsters were killed and ambushed in Burkina. It says Faso's ill-equipped army has struggled to contain the spread of violence.
Yeah, but look what happened in Eastern Europe 20 or 15 years ago. Same sort of thing. They recarved the Yugoslavia and all that. I don't know the full details of it all. Yeah. But a lot of people were displaced, and then they had to make new countries and everything. Same thing with Ethiopia and Eritrea.
But the thing is that Ethiopia and Eritrea are still fighting.
Yeah,
now
but it was one country before, wasn't it? The Italians, you know, and everywhere you look, it's the same. It's a similar sort of pattern that you notice. Yeah, you know, look for the patterns. You know,
it's true, and what you'll find
Northern
is that
Ireland and everything. You know, I can go on and on about this sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Kenny.
No. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many examples of this sort of thing going on.
Yeah. The thing is, it's being aware, like you said, and drawing awareness to it in that sense. Is it going to change? Well, there's still going to be consumerism in the West. There's still going to be rape in the country, things that aren't changed. And the sad thing is, I read something recently as well, is that even though black politicians are going back to these African countries to maybe take over leadership or rulership, they still have the European mentality.
Yeah,
so
some
nothing,
of them,
nothing really changes. It just pretty much stays the same. And these obviously countries going in and taking certain other things, you know, because they will tell you that they're poor in resources, but when you really do the work,
I've been to Africa twice. I mean, I'm sorry, I've been to Africa about 8 times, but I've been to 2 countries in Africa. Yeah, you know,
and you see the wealth and the beauty.
Yeah, you see the wealth and you see the poverty. Yeah, you see both sides.
That's true. You do see that.
You see both sides.
You do see that, but then they do kind of try and push the poverty more, because likewise going to Africa, you can see that it is a growing continent.
Economy,
No, it's not country. It's like 54 countries in one.
Is it 54?
Yeah,
it's a continent. I used to think of Africa as a country, you know.
Oh, but it's 54 countries, in one.
It's like you said earlier, Kenny. Yeah, it really is a continent, just like Australia is supposed to be a continent, and Europe and Asia and Americas.
With all the borders, man-made borders again, going back to man and what he does.
It'd be interesting to see, just my final point on this, in all those 54 countries within the African continent, how many European countries are in, how many European companies actually in there?
Oh, there's lots. The gold mining, the diamond mining, all the mineral mining, the steel.
Have you been to Belgium? I was only talking to somebody yesterday outside of Lidl yesterday. A lady on the bicycle. She said she was born in Belgium. I said, oh, it's an interesting, strange little country, isn't it? I said, I don't mean to be offensive, but isn't it? She said, oh, with identity. I said, was it part of Holland? She said, yeah, it was. I said, because they speak Flemish there and everything. I said, I've never been to a country where I see streets, of gold shops and diamond shops.
See?
Because I lived in Holland for 3 years and I didn't see that much. But in Belgium, when I went there, oh my God.
Aren't they the ones that do trade in the diamonds, though? That's
like, and the Dutch as well.
Yeah, it's the Dutch.
Yeah, and the English do it a little bit too.
But then the Dutch went into South Africa, right?
Exactly.
Yes,
there you go.
But it wasn't just the country. I thought it was, it wasn't. It was the region of South Africa, not just the country. That's why Zimbabwe was affected.
But it's all over, because when you think of, we're going to go to break soon, but when we think of Sierra Leone and the diamonds and all of the resources that are there.
And that's nowhere near South Africa, is it? It's above Nigeria, isn't it?
It's like
West Coast.
West London. West Africa. West Africa.
Yeah, above Ghana and all that, and Nigeria. So it's a big. The more we spread the word and the information, the consciousness will create the critical mass change.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so, because this is the whole point, isn't it? Of having that awareness of what's going on. Because Fasho, we see that it is rich in many ways when it comes to the minerals that they want to go in and get, but the people are the ones that are suffering, and it's really, again, raising awareness of all of these things. So, beautiful people.
Yes. Can we quickly repeat the question?
Yes, we can repeat the question. The question is today, I've got to find it. If a client can't pay after you provide a service, what would you do? What do you do in that regard? We'll see y'all in 5.
Allflavas Radio is now looking for radio presenters. Email us at info@allflavasradio.com.
Sounds of Mr. Vane, Culture Beat, and we have with us in the studio today the original voice of Mr. Vane. You could hear her right there, Tania Evans. How you doing, Tania?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello to all the listeners and everybody in the chat room. Hello, everybody.
Oh, wow. So, Tania, you were in the day on that playground in the background there. Yeah.
My claim to fame.
Your claim to fame, the 90s dance diva, German, with the German band Culture Beat, right?
That's right.
Oh, wow. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are? And tell us about who you are, Tania.
Thank you. Well, I'm just a Londoner, a girl from Jamaican parentage, born here, and I started my singing career when I was about 19. I sang in a couple of bands as a backing singer for the first 2 or 3 years, and then after that I just slowly gained experience, and I did session work. I did lots of things. I really wanted to do my music, my singing. And that's what I loved from a very young age. And it gave me the confidence to develop my voice, develop my musical knowledge and experience performing. I love performing, I love writing songs, and I love singing.
Awesome. So you wrote, because I know that you did say that you wrote quite a few songs on the album, didn't you? The Culture Beat album.
I wrote one song on each album, and we recorded 2 albums together, and we recorded. There was also one remix album. So technically, I did have 3 albums with them, and I was happy to have written one song on each album.
Brilliant. So how was your touring? Because did you tour with the band prior, or how did you find yourself? What inspired you to want to sing and go on and do these things?
Well, I always knew I wanted to do music from I was a very young child, and I knew I could sing as well. But once I started singing and hearing the sound of my voice, I knew I had a lot of work to do and a lot of conditioning, and because you got different voices, you see. You've got like the head voice, that's opera mostly uses like 80% of the head voice, and then you've got the chest voice, upper chest voice. Then you got the lower chest voice, and you got the belting voice, the lower belting voice, like Cher and Tina Turner. That's that's the belting voice.
Wow, because
you got different voices.
Yeah, I noticed in that track there, Mr. Vane track, that there's a really nice kind of high.
Mr. Radar.
That one, yeah.
See that I'm singing that in a falsetto right now.
Yeah.
The head voice, but that was sung in a chest belting voice, like a Tina Turner voice. Mr. Wrong. Oh, that's falsetto,
Wow.
So there's different, and you've got to learn to master all those voices.
Yeah.
Like Whitney Houston will sing, ee, and then she'll go, oh, oh. She'll flip to the head voice, to the chest voice, head voice. She mastered that,
Yeah.
That's why she sang so beautifully.
So who were your inspirations then?
Well, my early inspirations were Diana Ross, so many, even Bob Marley, actually, who you played in the opening of the show. Quite a few people, anybody with a good voice, to be honest with you. Stevie Wonder, his music, his songs, his lyrics touched me very, very deeply. Even Freddie Mercury, David Bowie, but his music was so haunting that just captured me. Elton John, from a very young age, 8, 7. That's when I heard that. From 7, 8. That's when I said I'm going to sing.
Wow.
And I want to write songs too. Elton John inspired me to write songs.
And you did, right? You did go on and, like you said, you wrote on each of the albums that you brought out.
I didn't write as much as I wanted to, but I did get to write, which is great.
Awesome. So what advice would you give to someone wanting to break into the music industry?
Well, I think you just have to get experience. You have to, like me, I was in so many different bands. I was in like 10 different bands in 6, 7 years. And 3 or 4 of those bands were very serious bands. And that, so you got to, even though we're living in a technical age, go and join band, do something live, go out and do something with an audience in front of you, and get used to performing and falling flat on your face and getting back up and performing and doing what you do and get better and better at it.
Awesome.
And learn, because in all the bands I was in, I was so loved music. I was so observant. I was watching some of the musicians would show me chords. I was watching everything, because I wanted to know everything I could about music.
But you went on, you are a platinum record seller, right?
Absolutely, we were very fortunate, because when I was seasoned, and after about 6 or 7 years of the singing in London mainly, I worked abroad as well. I worked in Italy. I worked in other countries. I worked with Ossie Bisa.
Oh yeah.
Everybody do what you do. I worked with them as a backing singer just for a short while, for about 9 months. They took me to Sweden and Turkey and everything, and that was just before, a couple of years before, I was lucky enough to record with Mr. Vane, and Mr. Vane was number 1 in 17 countries around the world. It sold more than 1.5 million copies, and so it was a huge success,
And you were the voice that made Culture Beat, right?
The original voice of Mr. Vane.
Yes.
Tania Evans.
And the rest is history, because I have seen you in action. You tour quite a lot as well, don't you?
I do the shows, yes.
Yeah.
I believe I'm entitled to do the shows and sing our hits. They don't belong to me alone, but I am. People want to see. Some people want to see the original singer. And I want to work, and I want to sing the songs I am known for, and so that's what I do.
And it's quite amazing, because that songs take you back, right? Like you spoke of Stevie Wonder, you spoke of Whitney, you spoke of Tina Turner, and hearing their music, it definitely takes you back to a time, right? So hearing that one there, it takes you back to a time.
Yeah.
I can't remember, I think it was the 90s, was it the 90s?
1993.
Yeah. And it was a good time. It always seemed to be sunny for me. I don't know, the sun was always shining.
Yeah, that's true.
At that time,
that's what comes to mind.
Yes, and it was always bright and nice, and hearing that. So the next track that you wanted to play, what track was that one again?
Okay, this will be our second single, and it's called Got to Get It.
Got to Get It. And could you give us the inspiration behind this one?
Well, to be honest with you, when I joined the group, it was most of the album was already pre-recorded. That's why I only probably got to write one song on the album.
Okay.
And by a very great songwriter. He wrote many other hits for many other dance groups. His name, I have to give him credit, Nosy Catsman.
Okay, and was you writer on this one here?
No. I only wrote an album track on this one, but the following album I wrote a really good single called "Crying in the Rain."
Awesome. So we're going to sing this one. We're not going to sing this one. We're going to play this track.
Okay.
So we'll see you in 5. Stick with us.
Got to get it out of my
Okay, so that was Got to Get It, original from Culture Beat. We have in the studio with us the voice of the original Mr. Vane, Tania Evans, in the studio with us tonight.
Thank you.
That's a pleasure, Tania. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in as well. Thank you so much, Ken.
To our humble studio.
To our humble studio.
You've been great to me over the years, and I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, thank you, my darling. We were speaking earlier, obviously, about your inspiration as a singer and all the people that have inspired you to sing. So there's only one certainty. I've got this question here, and it's an important question as well as a very thought-provoking question as well. And it is the only certainty we all have is that one day we're just not going to be here. Okay? That is the only certainty we have, that we are going to kick the bucket, right? So in one sentence, what would you say about yourself? What legacy, as we spoke about earlier, would you leave and say about yourself?
Oh boy. I don't know. I just do my best, and the most important thing in life is to really be loving, to people. And we've all been that way. We all have not been that way.
Yeah.
So for me, I have to evolve.
Yeah.
And I have to do my best. Do better. Don't have to do my best all the time, but I have to do better when I know better.
Yeah.
And that comes through evolving.
Okay, brilliant. Because I was going to say, what do you mean, do better?
When you know better in everything, or the most important things.
Yeah.
Because you can't do everything all at once. Life is a beautiful thing. I'm very, 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 very fascinated and passionate about life. I'm passionate about singing. I'm passionate about voices, music in particular. So I'm an explorer of life. That's what I do, and I've always done it from as a child.
Yeah. And so what will you go on to kind of do? We know that we're in a bit of a strange time at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah.
So what about your plans for the future now?
Well, it would be nice to get back to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's likewise the same with
everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah. But I'm glad we had a break, I enjoyed the lockdown.
Yeah.
Even though I've suffered a lot from it and I haven't worked and it's been a bit lonely at times, I really enjoyed the peace, because London is not very peaceful, is it?
It can get a bit manic, can't it?
Yes.
And a bit crazy. So likewise, I felt the same, Tan.
I really enjoyed the lockdown, all of it.
Yeah. And like you spoke about just then, it's all about, if we know what's right, we do what's right, but then also the growth. And earlier on in the show, we spoke about this being the university of life. So every day, we never ever stop learning, right?
Never. If you keep an open mind, it will work. And if you don't it's like a parachute, isn't it? That they say, if it's not open, it won't work.
Yeah. Let's hope you don't jump out the plane and it doesn't open.
And I think sometimes adversity can only sometimes inspire you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It makes you stronger, right?
Yeah. You know, I had to dig deep with my singing voice. I had to go to the places. In the beginning, first couple of years, I was wanting to sound pretty. Ooh, nice pretty. But later on, I thought, no, I need to go deeper. And then when I'd hear a voice, like even unknown singers, and you can hear how deep they're singing, how deep they're digging, and I thought, I have to do that. I know I can do this. I know I can do this. So I had to go to places that were not nice within myself, and I had to find a way to express that emotion through my voice and through my art and singing. And I did that for many years.
Yeah, and it is more than that for me. Singing wise, I feel it. It's just very emotional.
It's a feeling.
It's a part of you, isn't it?
It becomes a part of you. After a while, it became a part of me.
Ooh,
it really did.
And it's not your identity, but it is a major and a big part.
I make sure it's not my identity, because I could lose my voice.
Yeah.
I can lose the material things, and I can lose the records, the gold records. So I try not to make it too much of my identity.
But it's nice to look back, right? You have some good memories.
It's a part of my essence, the music in general. I love music.
Yeah. What's your greatest memory?
What, being in that
being amongst...
obvious, meeting Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What was that like?
Well, what happened, I saw his feet under a tent, and he had the white socks on and the shoes. And I knew immediately, that was Michael, because we were supporting him at the time.
Okay.
But obviously he's not around.
Yeah.
But one day he was around, because we did 4 shows supporting him. Israel, Russia, and Istanbul. And that day he came early, and he was there. and I saw under a white tent, I saw the shoes. You know the Billie Jean
sparkly
video?
ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't sparkly, but the shoes, white sock shoes, short black trousers, and I knew I freaked out. Because I don't normally freak out, and I've met a lot of stars. I don't freak out very often, but I totally freaked out.
And what was he like? What was he like?
Well, we were with the Sony representative Ian from the UK, because wherever you go, you got the UK, Russian staff, Japanese staff, but sometimes the English staff will go to other countries. So luckily we had the English guy, because he was from London like me. English, we really got on very well, and you know, I felt at home with him because I was working a lot abroad and everything. And 4 years I was with the group, you know, and I totally, utterly freaked out. I freaked out. And I badgered him for a long time, like 45 minutes, please, just 2 minutes. Can we please meet him?
Yeah.
he gave in the end. He gave in the end. He said, all right, I'll try and I'll see what I can do. At first, no, you can't, no, you can't talk, no. I just went crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he even gave me the Michael Jackson jacket off his back, because I was so full of sparkles and craziness. Like, he just took it off, and the jacket was too big for me, but I was so happy when he gave it to me, and I still have it to this day. I've wrapped it up for 27 years.
Wow.
I don't even wear it out very often.
What tour was that one? Because he's done quite a few. Was it Dangerous? Or what
it was Dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was Dangerous. In September 1993, I still remember the month.
Is that when he done that album?
Yes, it was.
In that time,
that's right.
Similar time as yours.
Yeah,
right?
that was just. I was lucky because that was when he was going to go away again. You know, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got in just before he quit the tour and everything.
Wow.
You know. So anyway, we went in the tent. Oh my God. Me, Jay, and the two dancers.
And Jay is who?
And one of the dancers really upset us. She was, sometimes they get a bit cheeky. She was only 19, you know?
Yeah.
And she was cheeky, and I was so mad. I like, you need to get the next flight back to Europe. And I was so mad. So part of me said, like, don't bring her in. Now you've got the power, don't bring her in. You know, because she was really rude and disrespectful. And I thought, no, I've got the power, and I'm not going to abuse this power. She's coming in. Wow. She's coming in because she's going to remember this for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
You know, because I could have said, no, you're not coming in, just me and Jane, you know? But no, I thought, no, I've got the power, and I'm not going to abuse my power, man.
And Jay is, who's Jay?
The rapper and writer, and listen to his fantastic lyrics. To me, he's a poet. He was fantastic. If I was a rapper, I'd love to write the way he writes and rap the way he raps, you know, but I was just overwhelmed by the level of talent. And he was in the band 4 years before I joined the band.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. It's so amazing. We were speaking earlier, isn't it, about the writing. And again, it's not just writing books. There's many facets and many ways that we can express our talents, many ways we can express our creativity.
Absolutely.
And that is the beauty about just being creative and being imaginative, right?
Yeah.
That we can just take it from any angle. And it not even from the fact of writing, even going out there and inventing or thinking of something outside of the box, right?
Mm-hmm. They would give him the song, they'll have the song ready.
Yeah.
Or even a melody, no lyrics sometimes, or half lyrics.
Yeah.
And he would... 2 days later or next day, he'll come back with the whole rap done. You know, he's genius. Because to me, that's not a load of crappy, streety. I shouldn't really put it down, but what Jay wrote in all those songs and all those raps, to me was wonderful. And the writers and everything, they were all beautiful. All the producers and the writers and the songwriters, everything, all the components came together. I was a catalyst because once I came, that's it. We went to the top.
Absolutely.
You know, so I know I was the catalyst.
Yeah. And they know it too, don't they? Because I don't think they've ever had the success that they've had since you've been with that band, right?
Before or after. Yeah. But unfortunately, our producer died, and that's when the band started to disintegrate and everything. That was the cause of our downfall, in my view.
Yeah.
In my view, yeah. Because the producer was the real culture beat, because he was culture beat before any singers or rappers or producers came around. You know,
and it was a new kind of music as well that was quite, I mean, probably in Europe they really had that techno beat going on, but the style and everything,
it was a bit new, actually.
And it had an edge. It did have an edge to it,
because they sent me an album before, and I studied the album to minute. I studied it for like a whole month. I studied everything. So by the time I got to Germany to do, I was like, I've got to get this job.
Yeah.
And that. But they heard my voice and that, because I'd made a white label, and they liked it so much they already gave me the job. I didn't know that. Yeah. So I knew everything. When as soon as they said, "Hey, here's Nosy. Hey, here's Peter," I knew who he was, what he did. You know, because I studied the whole album. Because before that, I had 2 big opportunities, and they both slipped through my fingers. So I thought, this one. Plus, they sold 500,000 records before I joined the group. Wow. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of records to me. I want this job. I'm getting it.
You got it, right?
Absolutely. I went there to get the job.
And this is another thing, isn't it? Marjak, my son, taught me this. When Marjak went for job interviews, he would, and this is a very, very key point. If you're going for an interview, whatever you're going to do, you've got to do a background check on the company, the people that are running the company, their finances, everything, down to the dot the I's and cross the T's. And when you go in there, and they really do, they're quite amused if you know about them, and it shows that you've taken an interest.
I was just going to say that.
You know.
And you stand out from the rest.
Yes.
I'm telling you, this is how it works. You know,
because you've taken the time, right?
I mean, I was afraid. I thought, you know, I was going abroad alone. I probably should have taken somebody with me. Looking back at it, you know, and I was a bit because I'd only been abroad 2 or 3 times, and it was only for work. And I'm like a young woman, 25 years old, in October, flying over to Germany all by myself for a big audition and a big job, and that. And I thought to myself, if anything happens, I've got to be alert and everything. But luckily, the moment I met the producer, Torsten Fenslow, he was a DJ. And that's how we got the inspiration for the music and to put the band together. And that. As soon as I met him, that was it. It was just a beautiful feeling. He was such a gentleman. I enjoyed being in his company. He had a beautiful penthouse flat with a mezzanine and a wrap-round balcony on the top floor and his studio and everything there. And I felt immediately comfortable. It was great, and it was just magic for me, and them too, because everything came together. And they kept saying to me, "Oh, are you ready to be a star? This is going to be big." And I thought, "Oh, I've heard this all before."
You were huge.
Yeah,
you were
huge. And he said to me, "Can I see your passport? I need to check when the date runs out and all that, you know."
Wow.
And I thought, I'm going to stay real cool because I've heard this all before.
But it happened. And one thing you've said to me for possibly budding artists that are listening was the schedule. It was quite a heavy schedule, right?
For 1.5 years.
Yeah.
It was chock-a-block nearly all the time. And then after that, it started to slow down, but it was real busy for another 6 months or 9 months. And then after that, we things got more sane for the last 2 years.
I'm sure, how many shows was it in the first year?
250 shows.
In a year?
Yeah, and I've still got the paperwork.
Wow, that's 250 shows. There's only 52.
That's not including all the TV shows.
Wow.
That's just touring.
Yeah.
That's not including all the TV shows and radio interviews and photo sessions we did and other stuff.
It's a heavy schedule, isn't it? To be at the top, it's a very heavy schedule.
Yeah, everybody wants you all over the world.
And were you tired by the end of it, or were you willing to
young,
go?
It was easy, you know.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't that. I mean, I did have a little bit of anxiety, but it was good anxiety. It wasn't, you know. I had the energy, and I'd worked towards this for so long, you know, that I was so happy. I was a bit shocked to be a pop star.
Yeah.
And I felt, to be honest with you, because I'd come from bands.
Yeah.
I felt a bit guilty, you know, being in a band where there's no instruments.
Okay.
But later on, 2 years after, we got the band. There was a band because they knew the musicians in the area, really good band, and we had that band, and they stayed with us for 2 years, and we toured Germany, and so they played on top of them backing tracks.
But it's so creative,
and they knew them as well from past. They knew the producers and all that. So I said, because I always said to them, I always wanted to bring the band some live elements into and of course with Torsten passing, because he wanted that too.
Oh, so Tania, you've chosen.
So I was very unlucky and I was very lucky.
Yeah.
Both extremes.
And you utilised it in a great way.
Did my
best. You're here to tell the story today, and I know that you're going to go on and do some even more greater things.
Thank you. I have a lot to show for it, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy that financially, it's not easy all the time, but I still have a lot to show for it all these years later.
Awesome.
I'm glad about that.
Fantastic. So
because you know the industry can be very ruthless.
Fickle.
And I've had been ripped off. Don't think I'm not. I've been very badly ripped off more than once, more than twice. But it's very important for an artist to invest any money they make
Yeah.
So that 10, 20 years down the line, they've got something to show for it.
So it's really investment, like you said, keeping an eye and knowing what is happening when you're there touring on those big stages, singing and entertaining, and what's happening over there as well.
Invest in education, because nobody can take it away from you, and invest in property.
Absolutely,
because those are the two best things you can invest in.
So you chose 3 songs, and we're going to choose one from here. It was Here I Come, Don't Stop the Music, or Ain't Nobody, and also River Deep. What one springs out to you that we can play for you now?
Okay,
and what is the inspiration behind it?
All right, let's do Don't Stop the Music. I heard that when I was around 12 years old, and I was blown away by the beautiful vocals and the production and
it's
the beautiful
an amazing
song.
track.
I love that one.
Amazing. So here we go. We'll see y'all in 5. Oh, that was the sounds of the Yardwood Brothers. Tania Evans in the house with us tonight. And don't stop the music. And Tania, don't stop what you're doing, because you really are an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you.
Now, we know that we asked a question before we broke off, and the question was all around giving someone a service. If you give a client a service and they don't pay after you provide that service, what do you do? What would you do? If you gave a client a service and they didn't pay? Ken? Tania?
Who first?
I don't mind.
Me go and cuss them, man.
You'd cuss them off?
No, I wouldn't. No.
What would you do that you got to... it's in line. Kenny, what would you do?
Well, it depends. I know I'm playing devil's advocate here, but it depends on the circumstances. Because sometimes people forget their PIN number.
No,
because I've forgotten my PIN. I have done that. I have gone, and I sometimes do forget my PIN number. Sometimes you forget to check your account, assuming that you had money, and sometimes debitors can take out money when they're not supposed to.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. However, this lady, this is a.
So I'm just playing devil's advocate.
This is an article that Lily sent over, and it's about a woman, and I think we might have to take this over to next week, because I think it's quite an important topic. And she went and had her eyelashes done, and sadly, the woman done the nice eyelashes. She's flattering, these girls with these long extra feathers on their eyes. And she got to the till, or she got to the cash point, not the cash point, where you tap, and it declined the card. She done it, it declined the card. So obviously she's provided that service to the woman. So guess what the woman did?
I have no idea. What did she do?
She cut her eyelashes off.
Wow.
She cut the eyelashes off, not just the lashes that she attached. She also cut the woman's eyelashes off for not paying.
That's very harsh.
That is quite harsh. What do you think?
Can I also say that sometimes a card machine within a shop or department store, wherever this happened, doesn't always work. Sometimes their machines can be faulty.
Okay. But so could you imagine if the woman's cash machine was faulty and she cut the woman's eyelashes off because she didn't pay for the service? Is that lawsuit?
Possibly. Well, they're both at fault, really.
Yeah.
But you just said if the cash machine's not working.
Yeah, but it's still the person has received a service.
Still their responsibility.
For a service, you got to exchange goods for a service.
Yeah.
So she's still at fault.
So beautiful people, what are your thoughts out there as regards to having a service? And naturally Lily says, no, don't come to me without your money. Learn to use Monzo. Monzo's very good. Or ping it to me.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you can just make a verbal deal with the person and say, can you do this for me then?
Yeah.
Well, instead of giving me the cash, perhaps. Because maybe we're moving towards that now, with everything becoming electronic surveillance or electronic payment now.
Yeah.
Cash is going.
But this wasn't cash. This was actually electronic money. So maybe it is a good idea to carry cash just in case.
I did say that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, did you say that?
I did say that earlier. We had this discussion earlier, and I did say that sometimes it's good to have a little bit of money on yourself, because we are going more and more into a cashless society. But cash is still relevant. It's still currency. Always. It's still a currency.
For the next 10 years, I think, after that, it ain't going to be relevant.
So money's still relevant. And I'll just to finish off, my thoughts on it is that the person who gave the service could have taken something of value of the one that received the service, maybe a ring, a watch, something to hold of value until that person, obviously, you give them a certain amount of time, whether it's 5 days, 7 days, 14 days. And if they don't come back, then you have a right to pawn or sell or whatever to recoup some of the money.
Yeah, because I know that if you went to a restaurant and you had a meal and you didn't pay, that you'd have to end up washing the dishes, right? Would you have to end up washing the dishes?
Yeah.
I would let them wash the dishes.
Yeah.
And come and work for me for a week, dependent on how much it cost for the actual service that you provided.
It's true.
But they might not come back, huh?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And if it were to about legal terms, it can actually cost you more than the actual service that you received. So my advice is to carry some money. Carry some money.
There you go. So
it's going to be valid for the next 5 or 10 years, isn't it?
Yeah, cash will. I mean, throughout the COVID period, a lot of people weren't taking cash.
That's right.
And they're saying, oh no, cash is always going to be here, but...
I hope so, but I don't think so. I think after the next 10 or 15 years, no more.
Yeah, thing of the past. So beautiful people.
Can I give one more shout out, please?
Yes,
I know he's listening. Gary Oakley, the best chef in Tottenham.
Best chef in Tottenham.
Oh, the best chef.
He cooks
Shout out
up
to
a
you,
storm,
Gary.
doesn't he? Cooks up a storm.
Oh, he certainly does, every day.
It's quite mad. It's the 11th of May. And time goes so quickly. We've had you in the studio with us. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you,
and joining us.
And thank you, Kenny.
It's an absolute pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing your story with us. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
And to the listeners as well, sharing it with the listeners.
And shout out to the listeners in Germany because they gave us our first big success.
Wow.
So I have an affection for Germany.
Yeah, and that's Mark Philogene, who's Mark's on a Sunday, he's on a Monday. And what other days is Mark on? I think he's on a Friday as well.
Okay,
and he's
great.
from Bremen in Germany.
Okay, I know where that is.
Yeah, and then we also have Sonia who listens in from Germany.
Hello,
She's
Mark. Hello, Sonia.
From Essen.
Oh, lovely. I know, yes. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so what we've been doing is looking into the 10x rule. And we know that the 10x rule, it does influence success to financial business gain. What's that, Ken? No, it's okay. And what we're on to this week, I think, is number 11, and that's about readily taking action. And it highlights this is entirely what this book is about. I hope that much is clear by now. The highly successful take unbelievable amounts of action, regardless of what that action looks like. These people really do nothing, even when they are on vacation. Just ask their spouses or families whether it is by way of getting others to take action for them, getting attention for their products or ideas, or just grinding it out day and night. The successful have been consistently taking high levels of action before anyone ever heard their names. We'll leave it there. And that's what you said earlier, isn't it, Tania? Yes, Tania?
Success means, what is it? What is the saying again? The success, opportunity and preparation.
And
opportunity add preparation is success.
Yes.
Catch me on Facebook, Tania Evans, Tania Evans Music, and through Caesar Cesari.
Caesar Cesari.
Yeah, he's really good guy. He's looking after the Facebook stuff. Big fan, and he's very, very helpful.
Mark says, greetings, Tania. Sunday and Mondays. Mark's on a Sunday and a Monday.
All right,
yes,
Mark.
We catch Mark. All
Definitely.
right,
Greetings to you as well, Mark. Thank you.
So we catch you on Facebook, Tania Evans.
Yeah. There's a page there with some information and everything that I've done. I should put some more stuff on there, actually.
Brilliant. And John Newman says that take their bank details on the card and ask for ID. Charge first, then serve them later.
Yeah, good idea.
And it depends on what they bought and are buying or whatsoever to what service did you give them. So it wasn't me personally, it was just a question that was thrown out there. So charge first. I don't find anything wrong with charging first and then giving the service, right?
But sometimes the problem is when you charge first and then you look in the mirror and it's just for your eyebrows and you're looking at them and they don't do them properly. What do you do then?
You know what? One time I had my eyebrows done waxed.
Yeah.
And she tore off the thing and my eyebrows were sore and bleeding and then everything.
Oh no.
Really?
And she acted like it didn't happen.
Did you pay first?
No, I didn't. You know what? I actually paid after.
She's still paying. You still paying.
Yeah, I didn't say anything, but I should have said something looking back.
And that's the trouble, isn't it? I mean, unless it's from someone reputable as well. If you go, I mean, someone cutting off your eyelashes, that is so
That's
out
wicked,
of order.
Yeah, so wicked.
Like, she should have never cut them eyelashes off. And if she did, like, no. Surely she must have had some kind of thing that would remove the eyelashes. But she was probably angry that for the money. So that was totally wrong. But if you're going in on an unrecommended service and then you have the service and the service is bad, I mean, the service has still been performed, so you still have to pay.
And
yeah,
that's the problem.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the issue.
Try and pay a lower fee if you can, but
and
if you can't.
And I assume that she cut over her eyelash because she felt she didn't want to provide any other service to this person.
Right.
So maybe that's why she did it.
But then, like you've stated before, that possibly the card worker wasn't reading. It could have been a number of different factors, and leave something valuable and then come back and collect it later when you got the money.
There's always a solution.
Yeah.
You know, try to reason with some people because we could all find ourselves in that situation. You never know.
Yeah. So, beautiful people, we have really come to the end of the show tonight. I'm going to shout out all the DJs on the station. George Flavas, thank you so much for this platform. And you can catch George on a Saturday and on a Sunday. On Saturday, he's on at 10 till 12, as well as Sundays at 2 till 4. And on Sundays, you can catch all of the DJs on from early morning till late at night. You find John J.E., DJ Laro, who is on after me, 8 till 10 tonight. DJ Mark Philogene, DJ George Flavas, sorry. Get tongue-tied. As well as Nige. You'll find Nige on a Saturday and a Sunday. And Ninja Man Lloyd. You'll get Ninja Man Lloyd on a Thursday. As well as a Sunday night. DJ Caddies on Thursday, and tomorrow you will catch Charlie Muir from 7 till 9, as well as Darnell, the therapist, with the wellness show from 9 to 11. Did you want to say something, Ken?
I was just going to say, if you can't remember all that, just check the website. Yeah,
check the schedule, but it's always nice to mention the DJs, and not forgetting DJ Slim, who's on a Thursday and on a Monday. So as Ken says, please check the schedule. And I guess all that we've got left to say now is we will see y'all on the other side.
On the other side. Thank you.
Take care.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.